Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to another episode of Coco and the Sun podcast. I am your host, Malika Critchlow. Very grateful and blessed to be here today. I haven't done a podcast for about 2 weeks because I was out of town. Um, I was out of town. Last week I should have done one. I was tired, y'all. I was recovering. And so Thanksgiving has been a little bit busy too. So I wasn't sure I was going to get one done this week, but I am. Okay. So before we start, I just wanted to get um some things out of the way. Don't forget to check out our Bring the Ladies offer that she's offering. I had listed her website on my previous episodes with her. So you can click on those episodes in the description. You can find her websites if you wanna um try out her offerings of messages from her loving guides. They're usually on point and pretty good, and she's just such a genuine spirit. I really love talking with her. Um, okay, so for me, what's been coming up lately is it feels like I am, through my dreams and like synchronicities, I am being shown things that I am holding on to that I need to let go or clear that no longer apply. Beliefs or experiences, which is really awesome. Um, it feels like there is trying to begin or something is going on with the higher self. I don't really like the term higher because it's hierarchical and don't like hierarchies, but I don't know what other term to use because in the dream, the term that came through was higher self. And then, like, I've had other dreams which didn't have a term, but the symbolism kind of is showing that it seems to be some integration is going on or trying to begin or to make space for by the understanding and the transmuting of um, experiences and beliefs that are not going to help me where I'm going. Oh, in the future, where we are going. Feels like that. Feels like that. So I think I don't know if I mentioned it in a previous podcast, but when I was going on the trip, we went to New York, which I absolutely love New York. Um, Before, like when I had booked the ticket, I was already in a state of concern about if it was a good time to go, um, you know, with all the stuff that is beginning to happen and should be coming in the future. If it was a good time to travel, and I had an understanding, again, in my dream sleep time, that I don't need to worry about anything happening before November 50th, which is hilarious that they used the month of November and said 50th instead of like, the 30 days. So when I worked it out, it really would mean before December 20th. December 20th is the day before the solstice, which is December 21st. I don't know why I was told that be in the dream. So I think something or there's some kind of change happens around the solstice time. I don't know if it's the exact dates or not, but around that time generally, I think maybe some changes are coming. I don't know if the changes are just energetic changes, if they're actually going to be in a physical reality or not. What I understood was I don't need to worry about anything happening before November 50th, which I worked out to be December 20th, because November has 30 days at 20 days. Anyway, that was my reasoning. And so I think the time before that, what's happening is it seems to be for me in my own personal experience that what's being brought to my awareness are feelings or beliefs or experiences I'm still holding on to in my core that are no longer are going to apply in the future, that I need to accept and love, understand, and release. Like, don't live my life filtered through those experiences or those feelings or those beliefs. So I think that's what's happening. I think that's what's happening. So it's kind of cool. I don't know if anybody else is having that experience. I'm seeing a lot of um other YouTubers that are really like aligned with their gifts, sharing activations in preparation for that time. They also are reporting that they're getting information that something, the solstice is pivotal, right? That December 21st, so the days before, days after are going to bring something new forth. I don't know what. And so there's a lot of activations and um workshops and healings, offerings that are going for free to get people ready um for that time. I I find the offerings to be such blessings and um such beautiful offerings. I do find though that I would like to not be activated through someone else's guides or guidance. I have been asking my guides and angels for what is best for me, activation wise, or initiation wise, or healing wise, cleansing wise, clearing wise, knowledge wise. Um, Specifically for me through my guides and angels, because I tend to enjoy how they teach and share and communicate with me more than um other people's, although I do find um, other people's to be helpful. Sometimes what happens is it's a little too strong for me, so um, it's not as specifically aligned for how I um, best integrate the process. Sometimes it can be too strong or too weak or just not something that I enjoy that way. Um, Sometimes it's good too. I really like the sound bots. There's this guy, I think he's called Chakra Vibrations on YouTube. I really like his sound bots. Um, Sound seems to work for me more than meditations, other people's meditations. I have a thing with enjoying others' imaginations, liking my own. Some meditations don't work that well. It works. I don't say it don't work, but I don't enjoy it as much, is what I would say. But the sound bath seems to help. Or sometimes I listen to um like the cell Baggio frequencies that they have. Sometimes online they have like angel frequencies. Sometimes they have like Syrian or Arcturian frequencies. So I feel like maybe those don't because it's not someone telling me what to imagine, I seem to be able to enjoy those more. But anyway, it just feels like this time right now that we're in is preparing us for something. I just don't know if anybody else is having that experience. So I'm trying to see where else we are. I think in the book we're going to continue reading. the Jeshua Channelings, and I'm going to do From Ego to Heart, Part 2, Exploring the Inner Wounds. It's not too long of a chapter, which I like. So I feel like I can do that. And let me just put on my glasses. Are you guys getting ready for Christmas? Thanksgiving is really blessed. I'm really grateful for all that I have and I'm experiencing, all the people in my life, all the people that love me, all the people that I love. I am also finding my Christmas trees are up and a Christmas tree. I have three up. So I'm really excited about Christmas and New Year's. This is one of the Christmas trees. I don't know if you guys can see it. Ooh. Can't see the full thing, but it's like a mini pine tree that I got for the dining room table. And I got it from Whole Foods for $30. And it makes the house smell like pine because it's real pine, but it's like a mini one. Um, so because the big ones, it's too big for me to carry in by myself and too heavy. Um, to set it up and everything, even with my daughter, it's a lot for us. So the mini one I can do, so I did that on the table and it smells the whole house like pine and I love the smell of pine. And then like the other two trees are artificial trees. One's like a white tree that's multicolored balls. I call it my Maximalist tree. It has to be a rainbow tree because it has all the colors of the rainbow. Like it has all the colors on it. And then my daughter did a green tree with pink flowers, which is really pretty too. I have to figure out a way to show you guys because I want to share it with you guys. Okay, so how's everybody Christmas preparations if you celebrate coming along, and maybe if it's not Christmas, whatever you celebrate, I hope it brings you a lot of joy. Okay, guys, so let's start from ego to heart, exploring your inner wounds. We distinguish four steps in the transformation from ego-based to heart-based consciousness. One, being unsatisfied by what ego-based consciousness has to offer you, longing for something else, the beginning of the end. So that's the first part. If you're unsatisfied with ego-based consciousness has to offer you, and you want something else, this is the beginning of the end of the ego self. Becoming aware of your ties to ego-based consciousness, recognizing and releasing the emotions and thoughts that go with it, the middle of the end. So I know that happens to me. Like sometimes I'm like, my God, I have some really petty thoughts or vengeful thoughts. Oh, I am a bitch today with these. Like, why am I thinking like this? So I can recognize when I'm thinking that way sometimes. But that's more often. And I don't judge it. I just like, where are you today, Malika? Why is this bothering you so much? What is this trigger? You know? Okay, so that's two, and it's the middle of the end. Three is letting the old ego-based energies inside you die, throwing off the cocoon, becoming your new self, the end of the end. I think I'm partially there. I do think that sometimes I can let go of those, ego-based thoughts and see past them. And sometimes I'm still in the middle, still in the thick of it, or it takes longer to process it too. And then fourth is the awakening of the heart-based consciousness within you, motivated by love and freedom, helping others, making the transition. So I feel like I am in between three and four. Like sometimes I'm really fully heart-based and just in love with everybody in the world and have so much compassion for all, even those that I think have harmed me. I can understand, where they're coming from. I can see their true self being love, and they're just what hurt me being their coping mechanisms or their filters from what they've learned in their past. It doesn't mean that I want to interact with them because I don't know if they have healed and have grown past their defense mechanisms. But I can definitely not feel the way I used to feel about them or the situation. So I think I'm in between three and four. It's like an integration more than a hard stop for me, you know. In this chapter, we will discuss step two, we will discuss step two. When you stop identifying yourself with the ego, you first get into a state of confusion as to who you are. This confusion can be profound and very philosophical in nature. You get to ask questions about the meaning of life, about good and bad, about what you really feel and think, as opposed to what others have taught you to feel and think. These questions are suddenly very real to you, and you have a direct bearing, and they have a direct bearing on the life choices you make. You look at yourself and think, is this me? Is this what I want? It is hard to make choices now since nothing is self-evident anymore. I have been there, and sometimes I'm still there. Sometimes I still don't know, like, what is it that I want? What's the best thing for me? Sometimes I do, but I'm like, maybe my guides and angels have better options for me. Um, so yeah, I go through this too. In fact, you are now taking a step backwards, a step into the deep, a step inward. You become aware of deeper parts of yourself, parts that are less conditioned by your upbringing and by society. You receive glimpses of who you truly are, your uniqueness, your individuality. You remember that there is a part of you that's not dependent upon anything around you, your parents, your work, your relationships, not even your body. This is when you vaguely sense your divinity, the part of you that is completely unbound and eternal. In fact, you are all multi-dimensional beings. You can and do manifest yourselves into several different realities at the same time. You are not bound to a linear time frame. Your current personality is only one aspect of the multidimensional entity that you are. Whenever you realize that your current expression as a physical human being is simply one aspect of you, you go beyond it and you can get in touch with the greater self that you are. Fuller self. Greater, fuller, greater, fuller. The words get me, y'all. I need to play with it. What feels good for me. Um, but before you get there, you need to heal the wounded parts within you. Living according to the dictates and demands of the ego has created psychological wounds within you. Letting go of ego-based consciousness initially creates confusion, doubt, and disorientation. After this first step, you enter a new stage. It is the stage of observing, understanding, and healing your inner wounds. We will speak to this stage now. Let me get a napkin, guys. Okay. With the ego in control, your actions and thoughts have been based on fear for a long time. In a sense, you have ruthlessly pursued your desire for power, recognition, and control. In this, you have belied your own nature. Your behavior has been based on outer standards instead of on your own true needs. Also, you have not been able to really love someone else, since love is completely opposite to the need to control or dominate. This whole state of consciousness formed an attack on the integrity of your soul. The soul suffered under the reign of the ego. When you disentangle yourself from the grip and hold of the ego, this inner pain gets more visible to you. It is exposed to you naked and more bereft of masks. You do not, however, know how to deal with this pain yet, since you still are in a state of confusion and disorientation. More often than not, you go through a stage of judging your inner wounds because they seem to lead you to negative patterns of behavior. Addiction, depression, uncontrollable mood swings, problems with communication, difficulties with intimate relationships. This judgment of yourself inflicts more pain on the soul, which has just begun to turn toward the light. The soul is letting go of the need for power and control. It is growing more sensitive. And then it gets caught up in self-judgment. Many people are wandering in this no man's land in between the ego and the heart. They are searching for a more loving reality, but they're still within reach of the ego's whip. In fact, it is not your inner hurt that makes you fall prey to what you consider negative traits in yourself. It is your judgment of the hurt that causes the negativity. If you look at yourself from an attitude of acceptance, you do not see an addicted or depressed or failing persona. You just see inner pain that needs to be tended and cared for in the gentlest and kindest way possible. The most important step in stage 2 of the transition from ego to heart is that you're willing to understand your inner pain, accept it, understand its origins, and allow it to be. If you can perceive the core fear that is inherent in all expressions of ego-centered consciousness, you have entered the reality of heart-based consciousness. Oh, if you can perceive the core fear that is inherent in all expressions of ego-centered consciousness, you have entered the reality of heart-based consciousness. However, reprehensible someone's behavior is if you recognize the pain, the loneliness, and the need for self-protection beneath, you get in touch with the soul displaying the negative behavior. As soon as you perceive the soul in fear, you're able to forgive. This applies first and foremost with regard to yourself. Take something in yourself that you truly detest, something that really annoys you, that you think you should have gotten rid of a long time ago. It may be insecurity or laziness, impatience, an addiction, anything you feel should not be there. Now try to understand the real motive behind this trait or tendency. What compels you to feel to do this thing and thing over and over? Can you perceive an element of fear within your motivation? Do you notice that as soon as you realize there's fear, you grow mellow inside, feeling something like, oh gosh, I didn't know you were so afraid. I will help you. This, there is tolerance in your attitude now. There is love and forgiveness. As long as you judge fear-based behavior, such as aggression, addiction, subservience, vanity, etc., as bad, sinful, or dumb, you are judging. But judging itself is a fear-based activity. Have you noticed that when you judge, you grow harsh inside? Something tightens, like lips pressing to each other and eyes growing cold. Why do we need to judge this? What is the urge to narrow things down to right or wrong? What is the fear beneath our need to judge? It is a fear of facing our own inner darkness. It is essentially a fear of living. In letting go of ego-based consciousness, you will want to develop a whole new way of looking at things. This way of looking may be best described as neutral, meaning that it takes notes of what is and has no interest in how things should be. The causes and effects of ego-based behavior are observed. The core of fear within is recognized, and so the ego truly becomes transparent to you. Whatever is transparent to you, you can let go of if you want to. Every human being knows fear. Every one of you knows the darkness and loneliness of being caught in fear. When fear is shown openly to the face of a child, in the face of a child, most people react instantaneously by reaching out their hands. But when fear is shown indirectly through masks of violence and brutality, it seems unforgivable. The more destructive and cruel the behavior is, the more difficult it is to perceive the fear and desolation behind it. Still, you are able to do so. From the depths of your own experience of fear and desolation, you can get in touch with the deep fear in the souls of murderers, rapists, and criminals. It is possible for you to understand their actions. And if you do so based on your own intimate experience with darkness, you can let go of it. You can let it be without the need to judge any of it. If you truly understand fear as a power that is, and that you are thoroughly acquainted, and through your living experiences, you can let go of judging. Fear is neither good or nor bad. Fear is and has a certain role to play in ways that are very hard to express in human concepts. Fear is a blessing as well as a torture. In any case, the choice to follow fear in your reality was not made for you. You were the gods, so to speak, who allowed fear to play a constitutive role in your reality. You did so not to torture yourselves, but to create a reality that has more substance, more fullness to it than a world solely based on love. To realize this may sound unbelievable. I'm sorry. I realize this may sound unbelievable, but perhaps you can intuitively grasp what I'm trying to say here. Fear is a viable part of creation. Where fear is, love is not. Where love is not, love can be found in new and unpredictable ways. A whole range of emotions can be explored, even created by the absence of love. The absence of love can be felt in a variety of ways. The presence of love can only be felt against the background of fear. Otherwise, it would be all pervading and you would not notice it as such. So, by creating fear, by catapulting yourself outside the ocean of love that surrounded you, you allowed yourself to experience love for the first time. Do you understand? I find that part to be a bit confusing. I'll be honest. You did not create love, but you created the experience of love. You needed an opposite, something other than love, to do this, and you used fear as an instrument. We on the other side of the veil can clearly see the spiritual role that fear plays in your reality. Therefore, we plead with you again and again to not judge it. Please do not judge fear and the darkness it brings, either in yourselves or in any other being. You are all created from love, and to love you shall return. When you enter stage 2 of the transformation process from ego to heart, you are confronted with your inner hurt, your fear, and you're invited to look at it with understanding acceptance. After becoming aware of your inner hurt and fear, you may go through a period of self-judgment at first, in which you may display destructive behavior. It may seem that you are going backwards instead of forwards. At that point, you are in the danger zone, the no man's land in between ego and heart. You know you want to get rid of the old, but you cannot yet really embrace the new. So you get caught up in self-doubt and self-judgment. The turning point is when you stop judging yourself, at least for a while. It is only when you are prepared to look at yourself with an attitude of interest and openness that you enter the reality of heart-based consciousness. Before that, you're merely comparing yourself to an artificial standard or ideal that most of the time you fall short of. You beat yourself up for this, and then you try again to force yourself into the mold that you created for yourself in your head. This kind of perfectionism, I tell you, is a murderous weapon. It is quite the opposite of love. Love truly does not compare, and more importantly, it never wants to force you into anything or change you in any way. Love has no eye for what should be. The very category of should is absent from the consciousness of the heart. Seen from the heart, moral categories are simply ways of interpreting or dividing up reality. They are ideas in your head, and as you know, they may differ greatly from head to head. The very need to set standards and define the good is the forerunner of human conflict and war. It is not so much the ideas as the underlying need to control and fixate that causes aggression and conflict. Political, personal, spiritual ideals, standards of health, beauty, and sanity all provide you with standards of how things should be, of how you should behave. They all try to fixate and define what is good. But love is not interested in defining good. It is not interested in ideas, but in reality. Love turns to what is real. The heart is interested in all that is, in every actual expression of you, the destructive and constructive ones. It simply takes note. It simply is there, encircling you of its presence if you let it. I think it's kind of like the way a dog loves you, like no matter who you are and what you do, like the dog just loves you. It's always there with you, like as a presence, observing and enjoying your presence, you know. I think this is similar kind of if you open up to the reality of love, the reality of the heart, you let go of judgment. You accept who you are at this moment. You realize that who you are. You realize that you are who you are because of a multitude of reasons, which you are now going to investigate and explore. Yes, I am the book that I came to study. Yeah. When this moment arrives, it is a great blessing for the soul. You're now able to heal yourself. You will fall back into self-judgment from time to time, but you now have a conscious memory of how love feels. As soon as you have that, you will return to find it in you, for you have tasted the sweet perfume of home again. In the second stage of the transition from ego to heart, you get into closer contact with yourself. You are taking a closer look at your baggage from the past. You are reliving painful memories again, memories from this life, perhaps memories of past lives, the psychological baggage you carry from all your lifetimes up to the present makes up your current identity. You may look upon this baggage as a suitcase full of clothes. You have played many roles in the past, assumed many identities, just like pieces of garment. You so strongly believed in some roles that you came to look upon them as part of your identity. This is me. You think of such roles as clothes or clothes. This is me. You think of such roles or clothes. When you truly investigate what these rules have to do with you, however, you will find that you are not them. You are not the psychological rules or identities you assume. You are not your clothes. You have used these rules from a soul felt need for experience. The soul takes delight in all experiences because they are part of the learning process the soul committed itself to. All experiences are helpful and valuable in this respect. When you take a closer look at your own roles or identities, you soon notice that there have been painful, even traumatic experiences in your past which still stick to you. You seem unable to let go of them. They have become like a second skin instead of a mere garment. Those are the difficult elements in your past, the pieces that now keep you from truly living and enjoying life. You have identified so much with these parts that you think that you think you are them. Because of this, you feel that you are a victim and you draw negative conclusions from this about life. But these conclusions do not hold for life as such. They just hold for the traumatized parts of your soul connect consciousness. In these parts, it is these parts that need healing now. You do so by entering the past again, but with a consciousness that is more loving and wise than you ever had before. In the second stage of the transformation process from ego to heart, you heal episodes from the past by encircling them with your present consciousness. Through re experiencing them in the present from a heart centered focus, you will let go of the traumatic parts in your past. Trauma occurs when you experience a great loss or pain or evil and you can't understand why it happened. You have all experienced trauma in many of your lives. In fact, the soul's consciousness during the ego stage is traumatized from the outset. There is the loss of oneness or home that it remembers and does not understand. When you go back to the original traumatic event through imagination and you encircle it with the consciousness of the heart, you're changing your original response to the event. You change it from horror and disbelief to simply taking note of what happens. In the regression, you simply take note of what happened, and this very act creates room for understanding, room for a spiritual understanding of what actually took place in this event. When this room is present, you are becoming master of your reality again. You are now able to come to an acceptance of the whole episode. Since you understand from the heart that there is meaning and purpose to everything that happens, you can sense from the heart that there's an element of free choice present in everything that occurs. And so you grow towards an acceptance of your own responsibility for the event. When you accept your own responsibility, you are free to move on. It is only when you relate to your own past identities as actors, due to their roles, that you are free to go wherever you want. You are then free to enter heart-based consciousness. You no longer hold on to any aspect of what you have been in the past, victim or aggressor, male or female, black or white, poor or rich, etc. When you can be playful about the aspects of duality and simply use them whenever it brings you joy and creativity, you have grasped the meaning of life on earth. You will experience great happiness and a sort of homecoming. This is because you are getting in touch with the consciousness underlying your different roles and identities. You touch base with your own divine consciousness again, the realization that everything is one. In short, the reality of love. We will close this chapter by giving you two meditations which may help you get in touch with the stream of oneness, the stream of divine consciousness that is the undercurrent of all experiences. Okay, guys, so I'll read the meditations to you if you want to do it. Meditation 1. Which psychological characteristics that you consider very much a part of you cause you the most problems in your life? Name two such characteristics. Then focus on the opposites of those characteristics. So if you picked impatience or insecurity, you now focus on their counterparts, patience and self-confidence. Feel the energy of these characteristics for a moment. Then go within and look for these energies inside you. Inside you, name three examples from your own life in which you displayed these positive characteristics. Now that you are in touch with these positive characteristics, let their energy flow through you and feel how they balance you. Meditation 2. Relax and let your imagination travel back to a moment in which you felt very happy. Take the first thing that enters your mind. Feel the happiness again. Now go to a moment in which you felt extremely unhappy. Feel the essence of what you felt back then. Capture what is common in both experiences. Feel what is the same in both moments. Both meditations are meant to make you aware of the underlying consciousness, that ever present unit in all your experiences. This ever present vessel of consciousness, the carrier of your experiences, is the divine you. It is your entrance to a reality beyond duality, the reality of the heart. Okay, guys, so that's it for today. The next time we do an episode, I will be reading From Ego to the Heart, Part 3, Letting Go of the Old You. That's a big chapter. Hmm? That's a big chapter. I think I will have to read that in two bits. I don't see me doing that in one whole bit, but who knows? God is great. Anything can happen. Okay, so that's it for today. I hope you guys had a really good Thanksgiving and you were able to see things or experiences or people in your life that you could be thankful for. Um, Either way, if you were not able to, I hope you're able to be gentle with yourself, love yourself as you move through this beautiful world. Loving yourself is so key, y'all, to getting to getting to the joy, it opens up so much um for you. And it just, I don't know, it makes things much more peaceful. Just to be able to gently, softly love yourself and release the judgment, like the books say, and trust you know what's good for you, and do those things that bring you joy, that bring you peace, and not disturb it for anyone else. You know, a lot of times I was a people pleaser and I did a lot of things because I thought it was a good thing to do. But I'm not into that sacrificial energy and obligated energy anymore. I do things because they bring me joy and beautiful harmony and peace. And if I can be there for somebody and I do so because it brings me joy, not because I have to, not because it's the right thing to do, or people will like me more if I do it, or if I don't do it, people will think I'm a bad person. I don't do those things anymore. I just do things because I like to and I love to, and it brings me joy and peace and it's fun. And what I noticed is once I started doing that for myself, honoring myself that way and loving myself in that way, I found that I did enjoy helping others in ways that brought me joy. Yeah, it's weird how that works out. So you don't actually end up being, it sounds selfish, but then you end up actually having enough love in you to want other people to have that love too, and wanting to help them get there, but not in a way that hurts you either. For me, at least, you know, not in a way that disrespects you or diminishes you. Because, some people are still in their own process, like they said, like in their own fear. And so their coping mechanisms are to make others, to lash out at others so they feel better. And while I can understand that and see where that's coming from, I don't put myself in those situations so often if I cannot, if I can avoid it. But I send love in a way that is joyous for me. So it might be, you know, hoping that their guides and their angels and source works with them in the best way for them to bring them the most peace and love and joy that they want for themselves, because they have the authority over their life. Only if it aligns, if that's something they want. Or it could be a supportive comment from far, not putting myself in the line of fire per se, but if I could say, hey, I just think you have this trait is so great that you have, encouragement, you know, without actually having to do something I don't enjoy doing. Or put myself in a position that I wouldn't enjoy. So, but anyways, that's how that works. As long as, to me, it seems like the more that I am love to myself is the more love I can be to others. It's somehow um inspirational. It works out that way. So I love that because it takes away so much of the guilt or the feeling selfish for doing things the way that I want to, that bring me joy. Now I don't have to feel bad about it because I know that brings me more love that I want to share with others. So I'm saying a lot. Apologize. Anyways, have a great week. Let's see what this solstice brings. They said this new moon December 4th is supposed to be, this full moon December 4th is supposed to be a major one too. I'm excited to see what my dreams tell me, what my synchronicities, my little daily life experiences show. And I am just so curious about the whole process and what it reveals and where it goes and how life changes, integrates with all this beautiful, loving, peaceful, exciting, fun, joyous energy, you know? I don't know. Anyways, so yeah, let's see what the next few weeks bring and if anyone's having any new insights, any thoughts, any dreams that are showing them things that they can share with us, with me. I'd love to know. Okay, guys, have a great day. Bye.